Edmonton may seem like a sleepy Canadian town to some, but to those who know, Edmonton embraces one of the richest sports traditions in the world. Hoping to make some history of their own, 18 drivers from 7 different countries pull into the City of Champions for the first time. They bring with them one question only.
Do you feel it?
800 horsepower.
Do you feel it?
Turbocharged V8 engines.
Do you feel it?
240 miles per hour.
Do you feel it?
Edmonton, do you feel it?
And you can feel the excitement at Finning International Speedway. We are live on speed where Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. The Champ Car Grand Prix of Edmonton about to get started in front of 80,000 of the faithful who've made their first ever visit to this brand new facility. Let's have a look at our starting grid for today's Champ Car Grand Prix of Edmonton. A.J. Allmendinger claims the Bridgestone Pole Award first time this season in the Western Union car number 10. He'll be inside row number 1. Alongside Allmendinger, his teammate last week's winner at Toronto, the CDW 9 car for Justin Wilson.
Row 2 is headed by the man himself, Paul Tracy. Big favorite here beside him in the Pacific Air car, Oriol Servia.
Back 1 to row number 3. 02 champion Cristiano D'Amata. That's the Bell Micro 21. Alex Tagliani on a tear. The Aussie Vineyards 15.
Jimmy Vasser in the Gulfstream car heads row 4 beside Dominguez in the INDYCAR car.
5th row here at Edmonton. Timo Glock. Good qualifying effort. The DHL Global Mail 8 car. Champion Sebastian Bourdais, the McDonald's 1, starts 10th.
Sweden's Bjorn Wertheim heads row 6 beside the Wellbox car of Nelson Philippe.
7th row as we take you back through the field. The Sonny's Barbecue 11, Dale Coyne's car for Ricardo Spirifico. Ryan Hunter-Reay, the Cytomax 31.
Another favorite in Canada, Andrew Ranger in the MyJack Tide car beside Ronnie Bremner, the returning man in American Medical Response car.
And the final row, Alex Spirifico in the HVM Ansan number 55. Marcus Marshall, shotgun on the field. That's the Aussie Vineyards number 5 for Derek Walker's Walker Racing team. On boards today, we'll have a look at the hands and the face of Mario Dominguez, who's had a tough weekend. 2 incidents on the racetrack, a hard wreck on Friday. They've rebuilt that car. He ruined the car basically in a hard wreck last week in Toronto. We'll ride with Alex Tagliani coming from 6th position today. The Aussie Vineyards number 15. They have been going well this season, Derek. Also, we'll ride with Cristiano D'Amata in the Bell Micro 21, the winner at Portland.
And that is a tear-off down the left side of the screen. Down here, Cristiano D'Amata. It's like a second visor. In case you get oil or dirt, you can rip it off and get a nice, clean vision again.
Now, D'Amata was quick both days, Derek. He qualifies 5th. He's had a very fast race car.
Yes, he has, but it has been difficult for almost everybody to challenge the outright speed of the Roo Sports cars with Allmendinger right here in the yellow and white Western Union car and Justin Wilson in the CDW car.
Gail Truis driving the Ford GT pace car today here in Edmonton. Coming to the start. Glad to have you with us. We are live on speed.
Waiting.
Allmendinger, here comes Tracy. Wilson to second spot. Tagliani up for 4th.
Wilson and Tracy are side by side. Wilson gives way.
Bourdais trying to pick his way through the field. Clean through the first couple of corners. Tracy to second.
Very technical part of the racetrack. Very fast corners here. Oh, Wilson, down the inside.
Oh, they touch. No, they don't. They stay straight. Amazing. I thought Wilson had gotten into him.
Man, that is a brave move to make against Paul Tracy this early. There goes Tag.
Getting by Oriol Servia. Tagliani on the move early. Your leader is Allmendinger. Here comes Servia back at Tag.
Servia backed off when he saw Wilson and Tracy begin to get into what looked like a potential accident. Tag flew by him. Now he takes the position back.
D'Amata back there behind Tagliani. He is 6th. Allmendinger told me this morning, Derek, he wanted to get to turn 1 first. He thought Wilson would be the guy to beat. Allmendinger has done that. He has the lead.
And Tracy has struggled, as we mentioned earlier, to match the pace as everybody streams through this extremely fast 5th gear S's leading down to this wide front straight.
58 laps the distance. Here's Bourdais getting around Mario Dominguez. So move Bourdais one spot up the chart. He's now 8th.
One of 4 drivers to start on the black Bridgestones. The black Bridgestones are a bit slower as Ranger peels off. He's got a puncture left rear. Chris?
Yeah, he's just arrived, and one corner was up in the air. They're going to go for 4 tires, and he shut down the engine. They're putting in fuel, but he lost power in the engine compartment. The pit stop is done. They've topped off the fuel already, and they're trying to put in the starter, but I'm not sure they're going to continue. It's getting very long, and I think they're calling it off.
Can you repair it to go? Just to do some points.
It's a bent left front suspension, I believe.
I want to do some laps. Come on.
He want that's Andrew asking, can we fix the car?
Points are key at this point of the season. He has been the Roche France Rookie of the Year leader, and he needs to score points. On course right now, Allmendinger leads Tracy by a second. Justin Wilson is 3rd. Servia, Tagliani, and D'Amata. Bourdais making a move here. Another pass. Jimmy Vasser gobbled up. Bourdais down to 7th. Derek, the conventional wisdom on Sebastian Bourdais is he doesn't like to have to work traffic. He doesn't do well when he has to start at the back. Denver last year, he had a dominant car, came from the back to the front on a restart. He's on a tear here now.
He is on a tear, and he is on the black Bridgestones. We have 2 sets of Bridgestone Potenza tires here. The reds are faster. They are between 5/10 and 7/10 of a second faster. Bourdais, the reason he started on the slower black conventional tires, you can see here the sidewalls are black, is because he crashed on Friday and ruined a set of the red tires. Jan?
And Derek, it turns out that not just Sebastian Bourdais, but 11 other drivers may be in a similar situation after locking up the brakes or getting off course on those red sidewall Bridgestones. So very interesting that the Newman-Haas team elected it. They only had 1 set. Don't run them now, save them until later. We'll see if that pays.
Allmendinger continues to lead. Have a look at Bourdais down into turn 1. He has moved to 7th, getting by Vasser. Bourdais 9 seconds behind the race leader. There's Alex Tagliani in 5th position.
The headline so far, Bourdais is not near Tracy.
But if he gets there, the fireworks could well begin.
And you saw Tracy is on fire with that move. I'm just surprised that Wilson and Tracy went that close side by side in the early lap.
It looked from the angle, if we go back to that lap 1 incident or a potential incident, as though Wilson's angle into the corner couldn't have helped but put him into the side of Tracy. They managed to get both cars slowed down, apparently no contact. Both have continued. So Tracy runs 2nd. Allmendinger leads by 1.1 seconds. Watching the defending series champion Sebastian Bourdais. Won the opener at Long Beach, did Bourdais. Hasn't been to victory lane since, and I think he's hungry today.
Yeah, he looks good here now, chasing down D'Amata. Of course, Vasser's teammate, Cristiano D'Amata, taking a little bit off the pace here. One of the problems with this new racetrack here, it is so fast. You cross over the surface changes, as we've seen many times on temporary airport circuits. But there's such high frequency bumps here that shock absorbers are playing a huge role in trying to keep these wheels on the ground. The team that happened to hit upon the right shock absorber settings, i.e. Roos Sports, Allmendinger, and Wilson, have been fast all weekend. Everybody else has struggled to catch up. It looks like Bourdais, though, with the Newman-Haas team, seem to have gotten closer than they've been for most of this weekend.
A.J. Allmendinger's Roos Sport Western Union 10 car out in front. He's a dozen car lengths to the lead over Paul Tracy. But Tracy starting to chop into Allmendinger's advantage. Justin Wilson runs 3rd. We'll be back in Edmonton. As we ride with Alex Tagliani's Aussie Vineyards car here in Edmonton, our Roche France Rookie of the Year standings. Timo Glock had taken the points lead coming in here this weekend. Andrew Ranger had held it for some time. Ronnie Bremer 3rd, and he is back in the saddle this weekend in the Dale Coyne car. We'll have more on Bremer a little later as we move through our coverage this afternoon in Edmonton. Hey, Tuesday night on Speed, it's Texas Hardtails. A peek into the life and sometimes twisted times of renowned bike builder Rick Fairless and his custom bike shop Strokers, Dallas. It's Texas Hardtails, mostly true, totally unreal, Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. It is exclusively here on Speed. Rick Benjamin, Derek Daly topside. A.J. Allmendinger has led all the way. Lap 8 of 88 here in this brand new circuit. The temporary course laid out around City Center Airport in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And Derek Justin Wilson, who won a week ago, nearly collected Paul Tracy back at the start.
Oh, he did on that opening lap on cold tires. Now, we all know how brave Paul Tracy is on cold tires, but Justin Wilson, I mean, he began to duke it out with Paul Tracy, which you don't often see. Wilson has great confidence in this CDW car coming off that win at Toronto. But running third right now, a little bit slower than Paul Tracy. Fastest lap of the race is still A.J. Allmendinger. And this is the second time.
Shut it off. Shut it off.
Second time DeMott has come in, Jan.
And he says he feels there's a problem on the right rear. That's where they go to immediately to check to see if they can find any damage.
Can't turn the wheel, or can you turn the wheel?
Now I can't. When I'm stuck, I can't.
Jim McGee speaking to him on the radio. Oh, and I can see up at the left front. Looks like there's a problem on the left front. It was at the right rear. Let's get to Chris McClure in the meantime.
They continue to work on the number 27 MyJack machine of Andrew Ranger. The lower A on the left front was damaged. He said somebody chopped him in turn 2 of the opening lap. They think number 4 Verdheim, but they're not really positive about that. They also had a problem at the back. The oil cooler had come loose. They've strapped that back in good and solid. So the repair on the left front is what's holding him up. He was very frantic about getting back out there. You heard the tone of his voice when he first got in here. He wasn't worried about the championship when he yelled about points. He was worried about Rookie of the Year because he trails Timo Glock in that chase by only 3 points. That's why he wants to get on the track as much as anything else.
And last week, Derek, he wrecked hard at the end, or cut a tire, I should say, at the end, and just ran over that debris from Allmendinger's wreck.
That's a great point, Chris, there about the Rookie of the Year. That is a prestigious award that A.J. Allmendinger, our race leader, won last year, but also he's backed by Procter & Gamble of Canada, and tied on the side of the car as Bourdais takes the dive down the inside of Tag.
That was going into turn 1, put Sebastian Bourdais into the top 5 in the McDonald's 1 car for the Newman Haas team, the defending series champion. Methodically working his way from 10th starting spot. He's already 5th after 11 laps.
And after the warm-up this morning, they had changed Alex Tagliani's car, the Aussie Vineyards car. He wasn't happy with the setup, so they went back to what they had on Saturday, and he's still not content. You can see Bourdais in the brake zones when he turns in is just faster. But I mentioned turn 1, or the first lap earlier with Justin Wilson. It's worth another look. Just have a look at the bravery of Wilson. That's Tracy in the blue car. Have a look at Wilson come down here. Now watch the curb. Look, he hits the curb, bounces over the curb, and almost contacts Paul Tracy. That is only 7 corners into the first lap. You don't often see, Rick, bravery like that against a man like Paul Tracy, which shows you how confident this CDW car makes Justin Wilson feel.
Well, Wilson had the dominant car in the final half of last weekend's run at Toronto, and he wanted to get back at least to second and not let his teammate get too far out, but A.J. Allmendinger has opened up a 1 1/4 of a second's worth of a lead over Paul Tracy. Let's hear more about Cristiano D'Amato's situation, Jan Bikas.
And unfortunately, he is out of the car. It looked like the left front bearing or upright or something. Did it happen right away?
No, it happened, I think it was by lap 5 or so. When these things goes, they go like all of a sudden. So running comfortably in 6, I mean, 5 laps only into the race, can't say much.
Was it due to any contact or curves or any big bumps, something like that might cause it?
I don't think so. You know, this track's a track that you use a lot, the curbing, to get a lap time, so maybe a little bit of that, but that shouldn't be a reason why for a failure like that to happen.
Did you run enough to see who's strong, who you think will be tough today?
Well, I was running 6 at the time, and Bourdais was already behind me. By the lap times he was doing the warm-up, I think she should be strong on the race.
Thank you, Cristiano.
Thank you.
He is strong. Bourdais has now got a sight set on Aurel Servia, his teammate. Last lap by, Bourdais was 0.3 of a second slower than Servia. That was the time that he passed Tag. That does lose time when you come off line. But Allmendinger is not running away from Tracy. That was Tracy, left side of your screen. This is a great fight here, Rick, from the young American star of the future here, and Tracy, the established hero. This is good.
Well, Tracy certainly needs to make up ground after what happened last week in Toronto. First, the incident with Bourdais. He soldiered on with a broken front wing, led the race for some 20 laps. Derek, we talked a week ago about how you wouldn't think he could even wrestle the car around. Then they had the fuel issue, and Tracy climbed out of the car, and they had a poor finish and a poor point score last week. So Allmendinger has led from the drop of the green. Tracy is second. Wilson and Servia are next in line. Sebastian Bourdais has climbed all the way to 5th. And the lead right now for A.J. Allmendinger in the Western Union car, about 1.2 seconds. Tracy right with him. Let's get a sense of this racetrack. Let's go full throttle here with Alex Tagliani.
light with it gives you an idea how bumpy it is. And despite the fact, have a look in around here. Have a look at the front suspension movement as he goes through some of these corners. There's a little bit of movement there, but there is not that much. Didn't quite hit the curb. And you heard him on the limiter. There's the graphics. That was turn 10, now the double apex right-hander. Miss the first one, you get the second one right close to the curb. And stand on 750 horsepower. Tag uses 6 gears. Most of the teams are using 7. It's a 5th gear right-left flip.
Meantime, A.J. Allmendinger continues to lead. Coming into today, Allmendinger had only led 35 career laps. He's led the first 15 here today, so make it 50. Second.
Good lap, AJ, good lap. Target fuel still 188. 188.
Radio traffic from pit road discussing fuel usage. Pit window expected to be about 31 laps in. You could conceivably stop around lap 26 and make it on 2 pit stops today. Get all the way through the 88 lap distance here today. Chris McClure, we understand Andrew Ranger is back in competition.
They have effected the repair, and he is back in competition. Well down, quite obviously. I don't know exactly how many laps, but he's going to have a hard time getting back to the field or any kind of position. But at least he's in competition. That's the name of the game.
Rangers completed 2. He's 13 laps down, but it's very early in the going. Attrition could well propel Ranger. If things go as they did last week at Toronto, he might be in line for a top 10 or a top 12, which would give him some points scored here today at Edmonton. At Calgary, near Calgary, we should say, in the province of Alberta. Ranger back to 18th with that problem that has been repaired by the MyJack Tide Bunch on pit road. A.J. Allmendinger leads. Paul Tracy, Justin Wilson, Servia, and Sebastian Bourdais are your top 5. As always, more information about this event, more on-camera views, more onboards and audio. If you check our website, champcarworldseries.com, click on the race director icon. It'll take you there. You can sign up and enjoy even more Champ Car World Series action the rest of the season. Allmendinger, nice and smooth. Tracy, very patiently, Derek, has chopped that lead down by a couple of car lengths.
It was 9/10 of a second on the last lap. It was 7/10 earlier. Chris Lurch, his engineer, you heard him go to AJ on the radio and said, nice lap. That was that. Oh, he's done. Rangers back in. So the Tide car backed by Procter & Gamble of Canada, and he wanted so much to be able to fix it and get back out there. Whatever it is, there is too much. You hear the round of applause. All the hospitality suites are to the back side of these pit boxes here. But what a disappointing day for Andrew Ranger, 18 years old.
From the province of Quebec, but a favorite all the way out here in Western Canada, one of 3 Canadians on the starting grid today here at Finning International Speedway in Edmonton. Allmendinger leading, working on lap 18.
In the Western Union car, Paul Tracy is right there. Bit of a surprise. What about pressure Paul Tracy can put on A.J. Allmendinger? The young versus the experienced. Don't go away.
Talk about fans enjoying a weekend. This place, Edmonton, Canada. And we are here for the first ever time. Finning International Speedway. Derek, while we were away, brand new leader. Paul Tracy was able to work his way by A.J. Allmendinger. Quite a move here.
Allmendinger got caught in traffic, and watching the slow-mo when A.J. gets on the brakes, watch the car begin to get away from him. Sideways, look, corrects it. Now he's offline, sideways again. Tracy sees the opening, chops down the inside. This is the double apex right-hander. That was a no-brainer. So A.J. Allmendinger watching the traffic. That was Marcus Marshall. But watch how fast it happens in real speed. Just watch out the handful A.J. has. Look, sideways again. Whoa, misses the apex. Tracy comes down and says, boom. Just listen to the crowd who saw their favorite son take the lead.
80,000 strong here today at Finning International City Center Airport in the city of Edmonton in Alberta, Canada. So Tracy's out in front. He's built a 1-second lead now over Allmendinger. We're about 5 laps away from the opening of the first potential pit stop window here. Tracy leading 279 laps, by far the most on the tour. And I think he feels that this place, this is his home country, Derek, owes him one after what happened in Toronto last week.
Well, maybe, and I'm a great one to believe that the emotional lift that somebody gets when they race in front of their own home crowd, I think it's worth speed in a racing car. And consistent, we see Tracy dominate when he comes to Canada. Incidentally, in the last lap, he was 0.2 of a second faster than A.J. Allmendinger, which I'm a bit surprised. Tracy has complained about lack of rear grip the whole weekend until today. He crashed on Friday. Then he spun and hit the wall again in qualifying on Friday. So this is, I think, a bit of a surprise. But he is on the Bridgestone Reds, which are faster, as is Allmendinger.
And we're told he brushed the wall right before that pass we saw when he got by Allmendinger to take the race lead. Hey, Monday through Thursday night at 7 on Speed. Be sure and stop by. Catch an all-new NASCAR Nation with Leanne Tweed. Off-track in-depth to the lives of NASCAR superstars. NASCAR Nation, life beyond the fast lane. Monday through Thursday at 7 Eastern. It is exclusively here on Speed. Coming up on the 1/3 mark of this one, we've been clean all the way. Derek, the conventional wisdom coming in was we might see a lot of incidents, a lot of drivers off track, a lot of contact Friday, again yesterday. The weather is beautiful today, and we've been clean so far.
Well, we thought that in Toronto, too. It went almost 50 laps with everybody just behaving themselves, and then somebody opened the door. They start banging and bashing off everything. This is a track that will fatigue the driver. When you get fatigued, you tend to make mistakes. Let's see how this thing unfolds.
Well, Andrew Ranger out prematurely today, right, Chris?
Prematurely indeed. After an attempted repair, it just didn't work. What did you feel when you went back out there?
The car was not a good angle. And the straight, the car was not fair, and it was not good. Was not safe. You need to come in the pit because the car was not very safe. You know, it's very fast here, and you know, it's just bad because start in the 15th place, not a great start.
Too bad to see you out. Thank you.
Thanks.
Young Andrew Ranger finished second at the second race of the season on Speed down in Monterrey, Mexico, back in the month of May, and everyone thought they were going to be in great shape. Jimmy Vasser in trouble. That's the Gulfstream Lola. Vasser spinning into the grass. He has stopped out there on the Bridgestone Reds. Here's a look at it. Got up in the dirt.
Oh, yeah, looks like he got the rear wheels into the dirt on the turn in. Once the car begins to change momentum, the weight of the car just sends it off the racetrack. You saw some smoke coming out of the brakes on the right front. Jimmy looks like he stalled the engine, so he's going to sit there until the Champ Car safety crew. Oh yeah, we're under full course yellow.
Pits are closed for the moment, and they want to get the pack, of course, bunched up behind the safety car before opening the pits to give everyone.
No, I understand. Let's just play the game the way they want to play it.
Well,
we will pit when the pit's open. We are going to stop when the pit's open. You sure you don't want any changes?
Neil Mickle right to Paul Tracy.
Okay, 10-4. I'll tell you when you're in.
Okay, that's a good sign when he doesn't want any changes. That
They
means
want you to stay hard to the left at turn 6.
he's comfortable with the car. That is such a calming voice.
See the pace car now as you're coming out of 1.
For Paul Tracy, you never hear Neil Mickelroy get emotional, which is the type of man you need to control a Paul Tracy, because he is the complete opposite. He goes on the rev limiter very easily, which is perfectly understandable. But I don't think Paul knew that Vasser was off the road. He thought a yellow was being thrown for some reason that was not significant, but they had to go get Vasser.
Vasser has to get a tow back to pit road. Both PKV cars in trouble early here. Cristiano Damata, his Bell Micro 21 already behind the wall. The Gulfstream car will get a tow in. Now, Derek, we put 26 laps on the board. This should open up the fuel window for everybody.
Yes, it should. Yeah, we didn't see anybody of significance. See, Jimmy actually bump started the thing, so he's on his way.
So Vasser loses a lot of track position. In fact, he's lost 2 laps, and he's being shown back in 16th right now. They will no doubt take the opportunity to pit him this time around.
Copy.
The reason Tony Cotman elects to close the pits,
You copy. Pit this lap.
he will watch where the leaders are to make sure nobody's able to dive in and gain a huge advantage just by sheer chance of where they are on the racetrack. So he will watch where the leaders, if the leaders can be slow down, and everybody slow down, then basically open the pits, and nobody gains a huge unfair advantage, so to speak.
Everybody bunched behind the safety car. We expect Tracy to lead the leaders on the pit road. First pit stops of the day coming up here.
There's that superb Ford
Watch your speed in the
GT.
pit lane. You got to come around Mario's guys a little bit. Concentrate very hard on the marks. Concentrate on the marks. Right under Steve's head.
Paul Tracy is in. Steve Moore and his crew over the wall, and the pit stop is underway. You heard Neil Mickelwright a moment ago say no changes. They don't affect them. They're waiting on the fuel, and the fuel is away. He is away, and Jan Beekes is with Allmendinger.
And of course, AJ Allmendinger is at pit out, so therefore they've only just in the middle of their service. And there goes Paul Tracy. Paul Tracy leads, but look at that! Justin Wilson picks up second spot. Awesome run.
And Serbia moves to fourth.
Wow, that was a great stop by Justin Wilson.
Nice work, Justin. We want to save a little bit here, save a little bit here.
That from the pits to save fuel.
That's Todd Malloy, his engineer, who talks Justin Wilson through these races. Now, can Wilson now run down Paul Tracy? But that was a great run out of the pits. Watch right side over here. Here's Wilson right there. There's Wilson. And he is just clear of AJ Allmendinger, and Allmendinger gives him just enough room. So now he takes up the fight against Paul Tracy.
Remember that Tracy passed Wilson, who had started second on the very first couple of corners of lap number 1. Now Wilson gets to second behind Tracy. He hadn't shown much speed compared to Allmendinger and Tracy thus far. So off the restart, we shall see some of the teams going to the black Bridgestones right now. Tagliani staying on the reds. Well, visit ChampCarWorldSeries.com, the series website. Click on Ask the Announcers. Email us a question. We'll have Derek, Jan, Chris try to answer it for you as soon as we can. Our question today, where's the power to pass button located? Does the driver know how much he's used? And can it be used in any gear? When we continue, we'll answer those questions for you here from Edmonton. Back at Finning International Speedway in Edmonton on speed. Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. Derek, time for Ask the Announcers. Where's that Cosworth power to pass button located on most of these race cars?
Okay, we happen to have an onboard camera with Mario Dominguez, and you won't see it on the front of the steering wheel because Mario has it right behind the steering wheel in there, very much like the paddle shifting on a Formula One car. So he likes to pull a paddle of the back of the steering wheel, as does Alex Tagliani, believe it or not. And the driver has? Yes, there's a digital readout on the dashboard. He knows that. And can he use it in any gear? Yes, any gear he wishes to use it in.
60 seconds of time in the bank, and you get a full shot the last time around. All right, ready for a restart. Paul Tracy got a warning from Champ Car to make sure he had things spaced out properly. The last start waved off. Tracy leads him by the stripe to begin lap 31.
Okay, now Wilson is in attack mode again. Wilson grew up on the European road racing circuits. He knows what it's like in the wet, and he's good on cold tires. And again, he closes right up on Tracy.
AJ Allmendinger told me this morning he thought Wilson had the car to beat here this afternoon. Tracy took over the lead from Allmendinger, and now Wilson chasing.
So Tracy's on the black Bridgestones, as is Wilson on Allmendinger and Serbia. Tag and Bourdais are on the softer, faster reds, so we're going to watch their progress.
Tracy with a very, very tight advantage over Justin Wilson. Tracy in the Mountain Bay Avalanche car. That's car number 3. Timo Glock on the move. The DHL Global Mail 8 car. He just picked up a spot on Nelson Philippe in the Wellbox 34. Philippe had gotten out of the pits nicely to restart 7th. Glock moves to 7th spot now. And Bjorn Verdheim back there in the Eurosport 4. He is in 9th.
Good run for those boys there. Now Serbia is going to chase Allmendinger. Tracy has the advantage. It is such a big advantage when you have track position. Catching somebody is one thing, making the pass is another, despite the fact that there's so much room here. The speed is so high here, it makes it somewhat difficult to pass.
Very tight racing a little further back. Mario Dominguez back there a moment ago. This is race leader Paul Tracy. In that 3 car for Jerry Forsythe's team, we documented the problems they had last week in Toronto, running the car out of fuel. Mistake made on pit road, and the team fessed up, but team owner Forsythe none too happy with what happened when they decided not to refill the car, and they could have. Tracy retired from the event very early and did not get a good finish. Drags the brakes.
Yeah, so the pressure is on now as he locks up that left front. You actually got to hear the squeal of the tire. Wilson sees that, and Wilson needs to seize the moment, if possible, to put as much pressure on Tracy as he can.
Justin Wilson in the CDW9, the Roos Ford entry. Last week's winner in Toronto, first ever Champ Car win for Carl Russo's bunch. A.J. Allmendinger's first career pole this weekend. In that Western Union car.
And a different line through the very fast S's. Wilson a lot wider than Tracy turns in earlier here. This is one of the surface changes all the way down through here. This is all resurfaced. Don't know what that was. Drivers say their feet dance on the pedals here. You're on the gas, you're on the power. There's bumps. You have to your feet shake around a little bit. You can see the rear wings bounce and bounce through these undulations, particularly under acceleration. This is good stuff here. Meanwhile, Bourdais beginning to try and run these guys down. Last lap for Bourdais was in the 4s. That is not the pace of the leaders. That is a surprise, seeing as he has changed onto the faster reds, Bridgestone reds.
Now Bourdais was 5th before that caution in the pit stops. Tagliani got out back in front of him, shuffling Bourdais back to 6th position. And so far, the defending series champ hasn't had the opportunity to try to work his way past Alex Tagliani again. Battle up front. Your leader is Tracy in the 3. Wilson in the CDW9 car in 2nd. There's the Avalanche Bay car of the 2003 Champ Car World Series champion. Paul Tracy in front of the home fans here in Canada, thrilling them no end when he grabbed the lead from A.J. Allmendinger several laps ago. Justin Wilson got by a few moments ago.
And this is into the first corner. Tracy is just on the brakes again. You see him lock up, burns the rubber off the front tires. And Wilson, this is actually down to the double right-hander, where we saw Tracy have trouble earlier on. Wilson goes down the inside. Now remember, Allmendinger sees all this unfold. That's turn 10, out of turn 10. Tracy hits the brake zone. Watch the smoke from the front tires. There it is, inside tire, can't turn in, Wilson comes down inside. They almost go side by side. And A.J. Allmendinger now knows that Tracy is a wounded duck, so he knows exactly what he's got to do. Dive down the inside in the brake zone. Tracy misses the apex again because he can't turn in. He's locking up the fronts. And Allmendinger down the inside. Tracy goes from 1st to 3rd in the space of 1 lap.
Now they can adjust brake bias in these cars, Eric. Is that what Tracy needs to do, or is it more difficult? There's
an adjuster in the cockpit. You can reach down and turn it. It's like a wheel. And you can move the pressure of the brakes more to the rear. I dare say Tracy has already done that many times, and for some reason he cannot overcome the problems he has. And we heard Neil Mickelwright get on the radio and says, Paul, we know the problems you're dealing with. Just keep going. And remember, he wanted no changes at the last pit stop. I don't know whether more front downforce would have helped him in this predicament or not.
Watching Tracy back at 3rd. A.J. Allmendinger, the pole sitter's got the bit in his teeth. Last time around, Allmendinger did the first lap of the day under a minute, a 59.9. As we ride with Alex Tagliani, the Aussie Vineyards 15 car, out of the Derek Walker stables. Tag in 5th position behind Oriol Serbia. Ryan Hunter-Reay in the Rocket Sports 31. That's the Cytomax machine. Hunter-Reay was 11th, having a good day by his recent standards. And he is behind one of the barricades, evidently out of fire and perhaps done for the afternoon. We shall see. So far, we stay green while we ride with Tagliani, who maintains 5th ahead of Sebastian Bourdais. Hey, Wednesday nights at 8:30 on Speed, it's Pinks. New drivers put their rides and their pride on the line. No points, no money. They're racing for Pink Slips. Lose the race, lose your ride. It's Pinks, Wednesday night at 8:30, exclusively here on Speed. Hybrid Benjamin, Derek Daly alongside, Jan Beekes, Chris McClure on pit road. Justin Wilson heading to pit road. This is pretty early, 34 laps from the end.
Relatively long stop.
They know it's going to be a long stop because they have to take a lot of fuel. But if you're in early and there is a caution, this will help you.
Go. You're clear.
No changes, no visible changes on the car. Black sidewall tires because he has no red sidewalls left.
last time. They took a little bit less fuel to give him track position, to put him into attack mode against Paul Tracy, which worked. Now he's had a longer pit stop, so he's heavier on fuel. So these laps, he's losing valuable time to A.J. Allmendinger, who has much less fuel and can run like a scalded cat from here on in and try and get an advantage that he keeps the lead during the next pit stops.
So Wilson with a green flag stop. Jan Bikas, what's the situation? We were hearing 31 laps was the max. He's still, 35 laps from home at this point.
Well, it's a case, just like Derek said, that they short-filled, so therefore they gained track position. They were banking on some yellow. Now they could still have some yellow to come, so theoretically we'll check the numbers, but if in fact there is, 35 to go, if that's accurate, Rick, I think he's going to have a splash and go later on.
35 to go that time, 34 this time. Here's Wilson. We've had one caution flag for only 5 laps, and Derek, everybody we talked to in the paddock, considering what had happened here Friday and Saturday of this weekend, expecting a lot of yellow flag laps.
Yeah, it was a crash fest here. Drivers and cars off the road everywhere, but it has all settled down here. Maybe the grip level has gone up to a point where drivers have a lot more confidence, but A.J. Allmendinger absolutely flying right now. He is over 1.5 seconds faster than Paul Tracy on the racetrack at this particular. Look at the car just buck and weave through that essence.
Allmendinger's taken the lead back. Alex Tagliani has brought the Aussie Vineyards car onto pit road for his second stop of the day. Allmendinger with clean racetrack, Derek. He's got 9 seconds of an advantage now on Tracy.
He's absolutely flying. And Tracy is no longer a problem for him. He knows he can deal with Tracy. Servia is right behind Tracy, then Tag and Bourdais. But right now, I don't see anybody that's going to challenge A.J. Allmendinger. Because, sideways. Unless he can challenge himself. Allmendinger has had a crash fest recently. We've seen him. Yeah, we've seen him destroy many racing cars. He tries so hard. Allmendinger has the bit between his teeth.
Currently L2.
But he better make sure that he doesn't autograph one of these concrete walls with a Bridgestone. L2, that means lap 2, 2 laps before he's supposed to come into pit.
Allmendinger with a big, big lead. Here's Tracy back to second. Tagliani has stayed out. We correct ourselves. It was Marcus Marshall for the Aussie Vineyards team who dove onto pit road just moments ago for his second stop. And here comes Paul Tracy, second time onto pit road for the thrill from West Hill. Chris is there.
Right here, concentrate on the marks, concentrate on the marks.
Just as Neil Mickelwright asked, he skids to a stop and the pit stop is underway. Reds are going on. This is Friday's qualifying set of reds. They are well balanced. They currently on Friday. A little more worn than the one set of reds from Saturday. And he's back out there. 10.2 seconds. Good stop, good set of tires. Let's see if that corrects the problem.
With 32 laps remaining for Paul Tracy. All of this allows Allmendinger to continue to add to his lead. He's got 15 seconds of an advantage now over Oriol Servia, who cycles to second.
And the major key is that Allmendinger is running. He's down the pit lane now, but earlier on, have a look at this. Watch the back end of the car. Look, watch it slide sideways. Look, 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 look. Almost touches the concrete wall, but he's in the pit lane.
Hit your mark.
Chris Lurch on the radio, his race engineer.
Right on. Good job. Brakes on.
Trying to keep him calm. He has to hold the brakes while they put the black sidewall tires on. We know Paul Tracy was just over 10 seconds.
Clear, 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 clear.
A little bit longer at 11.2, but still a nice stop for AJ.
Allmendinger back up onto the racetrack. Much like Cleveland here, you accelerate into the turn 1 area. This is an airport course. Allmendinger down and away, and Tracy, of course, had stopped earlier, so Paul Tracy unable to take advantage. This should put Oriol Servia in the race lead, who seems to be getting slightly better fuel mileage, at least at this point. Here is Servia, the Pacific Air 2. Now, remember, he inherited the lead a week ago in Toronto, Derek, and you were telling me afterward you thought that Servia just hadn't quite figured out yet what it takes to win one of these races. Still winless in his career.
Locking up the right front. He's on the reds. He's on the faster tires. So he does not have the outright speed of an Allmendinger or a Justin Wilson. But as you watch Servia in the Pacific Air car here, lead here, we know he's going to
pit. Use your overtake. Let's go.
Just about to say, we know he's going to peel off pretty soon. The team are saying, let's go, let's go. So Servia being told, get on with it here if you can. That was TZ TZ is the team manager.
Now Serbia with a very light race car. If he can add to the advantage, it will help him when he comes to pit road. He ran Long Beach and Monterey for Dale Coyne's team. Came to Milwaukee in relief of the injured Bruno Junqueira. He's had 2/3 in his second, failed to finish at Portland, and he's outrun his teammate, the series champion Bourdais, in those 3 races that he's been on the podium.
He has had a good run in this car. He might be one of those drivers also that when he finally gets his win, as he has a good chance to do in this car, that just gives you that boost of confidence that now you know you can do it. You can go out and do it just much more often.
Here comes Serbia, race leader, headed to pit road, second stop of the day. Serbia driving the Pacific Air 2, Jan.
And they have black.
Let me get your mark. Hold the lights, John L. Board tires, fuel. What's
John Tazanikis on the radio with him. They have black sidewall tires at the ready. They have elected no. They said no changes, but they took some front wing out. Oh, that takes a lot more fuel than you would expect. Thought it would be quick on the fuel. Took a little bit longer. Should maintain about his position.
Alex Tagliani ran it too long, evidently. The 15 car, the Aussie Vineyards car, coasting in out of fuel. Chris.
Yeah, coasts into position. Off come the Reds, and the fuel goes in. Gonna have to try and start it. The man with the starter holds it over the fat wall. Now they're going to go for the start. It's in. It's not fired yet. Now it's fired. And Tagliani away on a fresh set of blacks, but that was costly.
Wow, that was very, very costly, Chris. You're exactly right. He ran in the top 5. He had fallen down. He had fallen back down to 6th and 7th place. That was very costly. Now, here is what is of interest to me. How far back is Paul Tracy? We show him in 7th place because Bourdais has not stopped yet. But Tracy is the only one of these front runners, other than Bourdais, who's currently leading, that has just changed onto the faster of the Bridgestone Reds. The Reds are half a second faster.
28 laps to go. Bourdais takes over. He has yet to make his second stop. 5th lead change of the day. This one under green flag pit stops. Bourdais moving up on one of the PKV cars.
That was Vasser, and he looked like he moved aside or changed his line to let Bourdais go by as Bourdais sails by right here.
Jimmy Vasser a lap down, brought out the first and only caution of the day when the car went off the racetrack and into the grass. Jimmy needed a tow to get bump started. He's a lap down back in 15th in the Gulfstream Lola. Here's Bourdais, defending series champion.
lap 7.
And they're telling him he's got to come to pit road next time by.
That was Kenny Seawick, his team manager, on the radio to Bourdais. He's got super mileage. So they didn't have the outright speed. So what they've done is they've used as little fuel as possible to get him this far up into the lead. But now he's got to make the pit stop. Jan?
Well, the reason that he got such good fuel economy, they got stuck behind Alex Tagliani. They didn't think they could pass. So therefore they said, well, let's just hang back and save fuel. So every lap that he runs in addition, therefore this stop should be faster. He doesn't have to take as much fuel. Hopefully that will help.
There'll be 27 laps to go next time when Bourdais comes to pit road. The Ansan 55 of Alex Spirafico making his pit stop right now. And here comes Bourdais. Final couple of corners here at this 1.97-mile layout in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Finning International Speedway. Huge crowd of more than 80,000 on hand today. And here's Bourdais to pit road for the second time today. Let's listen to the radio.
Close into your box, Sebastian. Tide's waving you in. Pull it on the lights, Brian. Solid stop here, guys. On the mark.
Always remind a driver to stop on the marks because it does speed up the stop itself. Sebastian seems to like these black sidewall Bridgestones better. Still have to wait on the fuel. 10.9 seconds. Amazing that Paul Tracy.
Under Serbia, just coming to turn one now.
They're coaching him, and there's Serbia.
Wow. Bourdais beats Serbia into turn one. Now, Paul Tracy, we understand, has had a spin out on turn 10, but he has continued. Tracy fifth after that second pit stop just a moment ago. Have a look here. You'll see Tracy in your frame at the moment.
Oh,
the Reds, Derek.
Yeah, but when you lose control that early, again, it points to braking problems. Now, he was locking up the fronts. That looks like he locked up the rears on the way in there. Maybe he's now overheated the front brakes. But whatever way you look at it, he is in trouble as Allmendinger and Wilson now just rocket away from the field.
24 laps to go as we work on lap 64 of 88. Allmendinger in the Western Union 10 on the pole for the first time in his young Champ Car career this weekend. His teammate Justin Wilson, the CDW 9, right behind him, running second. They were on the front row here today. Tracy got by Wilson going into turn 1, so Justin ran third for quite a while. Both of these drivers have led laps. Allmendinger by 0.6 of a second last time by. And Jan Bikas, the battle between Tracy, Wilson, and Allmendinger has been a dandy. Tracy seems to have fallen off the pace. What about Wilson? Can he get back around Allmendinger?
Well, for Wilson, he probably could get by AJ, but they just told him on the radio, we want 2.0 on the mileage. That means he has to save fuel. Earlier on, we heard numbers on the radio, 1.8, 1.7. So if you have to run 2 miles per gallon, remember, he stopped earlier. If he wants to go to the end, he will not be able to use the same kind of speed to challenge AJ.
So the Rooseport boys are 1 and 2 as the laps wind down at Finning International in Edmonton. Allmendinger leads Wilson. Bourdais 20 seconds back. Coming up on 20 to go in Edmonton. Hey, Thursday nights at 7:30 on Speed. Check out NASCAR Beyond the Wheel. A further inside a race team than you've ever been before. Hear from the drivers and the crews as they work through adversity, strategize, and try to whip their team to victory lane. NASCAR Beyond the Wheel, Thursday night, 7:30 Eastern, only on Speed. I'm Rick Benjamin, Derek Daly alongside Jan Bikas, Chris McClure on pit road. Only one caution for 5 laps. Justin Wilson was very fast a little while ago. He settled into second behind his teammate Allmendinger. He's got to save fuel, and he stopped early. What does that all mean as we get down to the last couple of dozen laps here?
Well, what it means is if you want to go 35 laps on a tank of fuel, you really have to back off. The latest radio transmission, 2.05 for Justin Wilson. Even that, they're going to keep giving him a higher number. You have to back off earlier and save fuel. Even with that, it's going to be tough to go 35 laps.
And he cannot make as much speed, right?
And the problem is Bourdais stopped 3 or 4 or 5 laps after him, so he probably does have enough speed, and that's who Wilson is racing right now, because Allmendinger just has more speed and we believe has more fuel also because he stopped later on.
So it's Allmendinger by 1.3 seconds over Wilson. Bourdais third, Serbia fourth, Tracy is fifth, and Timo Glock is sixth. Now earlier today, the Toyota Atlantic Championship was in action here at Edmonton at Finning International. Catherine Legg scored her second victory of the season over Charles Wolfsman, Andreas Worth. Chris McClure, Catherine Legg really making a name for herself here.
Boy, she put on a great show today. Good aggressive move at the beginning of the race, got her position. Late in the race, she passed Wolfsman in traffic, worked it just perfectly, and you brought her home after a restart, after a yellow. You had to do a lot of things, and you succeeded.
Yeah, it was a difficult race for me today. You know, we really had to work hard for the win, but you know, what counts is that we went over that start-finish line first. So I'm just so grateful to the team for giving me such a good car. Polestar and Jim Griffith, who's the team owner, you know, brilliant. And also Kevin for, you know, giving me the opportunity to come here and do this. And Edmonton, what a fantastic place. Haven't these people put on a good show? It's amazing.
Well done today. It was beautifully executed.
Thank you very much.
Catherine Legg, twice a winner in Atlantics this season.
Only woman to ever win a Toyota Atlantic event in 31 seasons of competition. Watching the leaders work up toward the front straightaway. Still A.J. Allmendinger, the pole sitter. And Justin Wilson runs in second spot. Catherine Legg among the many drivers reacting to the huge crowds we've seen here at Finning International in Edmonton all weekend long. 80,000 strong here today. And Chris McClure, you ran across a great story of an oil field worker who didn't want to be shut out of the ticket windows on race day.
Well, that's a fact. The other day, one of the men on the safety team, Dave Hollander, ran into this fella. He'd come straight from the oil fields, and he was covered with oil. He didn't smell all that good because crude isn't, isn't aromatic. But he had driven 300 miles in that condition to buy 10 tickets for the weekend. They'd heard the tickets were going fast, and they just didn't want to get shut out. He turned around after making the purchase, went on back, and he said, I don't know a lot about racing, but this is the thing that's happening in Alberta and Edmonton this year, and I'm not going to miss it for the world. He and his chums are here this weekend.
And enjoying the weekend. And this is a great sports town here in Edmonton, but the most amazing thing happened yesterday. It was raining cats and dogs until about midday, and still 66,000 people turned up in the rain and the cold to watch what was going on in qualifying, etc. So it's a pretty awesome weekend here for everybody to be involved in.
As the laps wind down, coming up on 17 to go next time. This is your second place car, the CDW number 9, Justin Wilson, who won at Toronto last week. Allmendinger continues to lead in the Western Union 10 car. What about Sebastian Bourdais, who led a couple of laps on the pit stop exchange? Well, that pit stop exchange has put Bourdais 27 seconds off the lead. He is on pace, though, running third at this point. And his teammate Oriol Servia, the Pacific Care 2 car, right behind him at fourth. They've got a pretty good little battle going. Less than a second separating third from fourth right now. As we watch Servia wheeling that car in relief of Bruno Junqueira, who continues to mend from the injuries he suffered at Indy back on race day in the month of May in the 500.
And Servia's yardstick, of course, is the champion, Sebastian Bourdais. Bourdais was fastest on Friday in the very first session here, so Servia measures himself against Bourdais. And you mentioned it earlier, Rick, he's done a really good job. He hasn't quite stepped up on the top step of the podium yet, but it shows all likelihood that he could do that. But Servia having another good day, consistently running at the front.
Now, Paul Tracy had his problems. He gave up the lead. He had taken the lead from A.J. Allmendinger with a great move in these very corners. But Tracy had brake lockup problems. They put Bridgestone Reds on the car during the last stop. Tracy back in fifth, and he is 35 seconds behind the leaders, Derek. He's obviously backed off the pace to kind of drive around the problems in that car.
Yeah, this has to now be a championship day for him. He's won 29 of these races. He is really in the championship fight with Bourdais. He can't beat Bourdais on speed or Allmendinger and Wilson, so you better just make smart, wise decisions. Keep this thing on the road and get as many points as you can, despite the fact that you're in front of you're the hometown boy for all intents and purposes. They love the Canadians here. He's on the Reds also, but his car is a bit limp right now. He can't challenge.
So that's your top 5, but a surprise in the 6th position. We've been discussing the last several weeks in Champ Car coverage that Timo Glock and Ryan Hunter-Reay, the Rocket Sports entries, Glock and the DHL Global Mail number 8, they've really been struggling. There have been some questions about what's going on there and whether they can find some speed in those cars. Well, how about Timo Glock? He has worked his way up today. Glock started in 9th position, and he is running 6th. He's next in line behind Tracy. He's about 6 seconds further back as we watch Tracy head toward the start-finish line. There's Glock. That's the yellow car that you see making its way down the straightaway. Glock in the DHL car. He's in 6th. He's gained 3 positions there. That's a very good day for Timo.
And the interesting thing is, as soon as they unloaded this car for Glock on this brand new racetrack. Now remember, when you go to a new racetrack, nobody has a book. Nobody has experience. Nobody has a setup. But he was fast every single session. Young 23-year-old German, ex-Jordan Formula One test driver, having a great run here for Rocket Sports.
But it has been a mixed day, Jan, for the Rocket Sports team. What's going on with Ryan Hunter-Reay?
Well, we'll find out. First of all, Timo Glock looks like he's running strong. But let's start, I guess, with Ryan Hunter. What knocked him out?
Well, it looks like they've run out of fuel. The calculations all show he had a lap and a half, and he ran out a half a lap short. Randy's one of the best fuel guys in the business, and we don't know yet. We don't know if it's a pickup problem in the car. We'll find out when we get the car back.
Same problem to Paul Tracy. Now, what about Timo Glock? You got to be excited. Things are coming together for Timo.
Well, the communication between Timo and his engineers have gotten a lot better. They're back on track, back on the setup. We know, and right now, he's a fast car. 2 more guys have to stop in front of us, we think.
You had a period of the season you struggled. Do you think you're back on track now?
Absolutely. We lost our way there. We didn't believe in what we knew, and I think now the guys are back. You know, it's a shame for Ryan because he had a good car. Timo's got a good car now, and if we are lucky, we can get in the top 3 or 4.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks.
And the chemistry between the driver and the engineer is such a vital link to extract speed from these cars. Dave Watson is the engineer for Timo Glock. Timo Glock, we know he has great talent. You see him fight the wheel here. Very few Formula One drivers scored World Championship points on his Grand Prix debut. He did that at the Canadian Grand Prix. So I'm glad to see that Glock and Watson are beginning to get the speed from this car that we know is in there because it's a Lola just like everybody else's.
He is lapping by the 55 of Sperafico. That is the Ansan HVM car as we watch Glock whistle onto the straightaway. Next in line in 7th spot is Mario Dominguez in the Indac number 7 from the Jerry Forsythe team. as we ride with Dominguez. He's in front of Ronnie Bremer, who's putting together a wonderful day, and we'll talk about Bremer in a moment. Dominguez, Derek, big wreck on Friday with Andrew Ranger. Got into the back end of Alex Tagliani's car. They've had radio problems. It's been a trouble-filled weekend for the 17.
Yeah, you talk about radio problems. They had no radios in Toronto. That's why he was not warned that Allmendinger had crashed, and he just then had an enormous smash into him. The team had to go back to Indianapolis. They spent about a day and a night rebuilding a new car for Dominguez. The other one was destroyed, unrepairable. They could not even repair the tub. So Dominguez comes here then, as you say, crashed with Ranger. But he is Rookie of the Year from 2002, knows how to win races. He's had 2 wins. But Dominguez, remember Long Beach? He had to introduce himself to his team. The deal was done that late. Hello, I'm Mario Dominguez. I'm your driver, and right now I'm trying to hold on to Bremer.
One car in trouble on the racetrack. We'll have a look at it as soon as we can. Ronnie Bremer with a terrific job. Second full course caution of the day with 13 laps to go, and it's the Eurosport 4 car, Bjorn Verdheim. Now remember, Verdheim had a huge impact a couple of weeks ago at Cleveland. Verdheim in the 4 is spun at least. Doesn't seem to be, oh, there it is. The wing is torn off the back. So now the yellow comes out with 13 laps to go, and enough caution laps here could help Justin Wilson get the 9 car, the CDW machine, home in second spot. Jan?
And that is the exact thing that the Rousport team has just determined. They were so hopeful of a yellow because they kept calling Justin, we have to save more, we have to save more. So all of a sudden, when we come back to green, it's going to be a different race between A.J. Allmendinger and Justin Wilson, because then he will have fuel to use and will also close the gap for a very fast Sebastian Bourdais that was closing down.
Bourdais and Serbia and Tracy will all have another shot here with about 10 to go. Now here's what happened to Verdheim.
Bjorn Verdheim. See what happens here. Oh, he lost it on the way in, and he backs it into the wall. Boom!
It's the tires, knocked the back wing off, though, for the HVM bunch. Verdheim out of the car. The safety team there to help him. He's okay, but they'll put him and take him for a ride to the care center just to make sure that he's fine.
And this is one of the surprises that Verdheim just has not come to grips with Champ Car. I don't know why. He pretty much dominated the European Formula 3000 Championship 2 years ago, and that's where Justin Wilson came from. Juan Montoya came from there. Bruno Junqueira came from there. We expected so much from Verdheim, but I don't know. It just hasn't clicked. They've had way too many accidents. That team is one of the...
this lap, I don't expect anybody's going to stop.
That team, led by Keith Wiggins, one of the best organized teams in the business. Remember, Ryan Hunter-Reay drove for them last year, dominated at Milwaukee, but the wheels have come off the wagon way too many times this year.
12 laps to go. We are under yellow for just the second time here at Finning International Speedway in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. As the laps wind down, the pits are open. Doubtful any of the leaders will make a stop. We'll be back.
You're watching Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford.
The North Saskatchewan River and a look at downtown Edmonton, one of the more beautiful cities you will see in North America. And boy, do they love their motorsports here at Edmonton. Trouble, Justin Wilson under yellow with 9 laps to go has spun. They're taking evasive action. The CDW car, Wilson has to go onto the dirt. Derek, much like we saw in Trans Am action yesterday late in the going, drivers seemingly losing their places on the racetrack. Wilson's second for the restart behind Allmendinger. What happens?
You put on too much horsepower when you run this slowly, and you simply turn around just like that. Now, the problem is, when he backs up, he tries to get back in line. Nobody lets him back in line because that's the position he would have started the restart in. Now he's pretty much shuffled almost back to the back of the field.
Spinning the wheels to get going.
Yeah, but he has to stop. He has to stop right there.
Timo Glock there.
Nobody lets him by. Is that tag? It is tag. Tagliani. Wow, what a mistake by Justin Wilson.
He's got a fast car, and we were telling you just before the break that fuel-wise, things should work out terrifically well. How about this? The series champion Bourdais, who hasn't won since the opener at Long Beach. It's been a long drought for Bourdais. He'll restart second, it appears. They're not lined up single file correctly yet with 9 to go. When they take the restart green. Pit boards out for many of the drivers. Pits have been open.
Oh, you see what happened there? AJ took a run at the corner.
Green, 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 green.
Oh, we got a great restart at Allmendinger.
9 laps to go. We'll see where Wilson comes over the line. Oh, Justin Wilson, 9th, 8th, making 8th on the restart. In front of Tagliani, Ronnie Bremer got by. A great day for Bremer, who's been out of the seat the last 2 races for HVM. Just signed by HVM for 2006, and they've loaned him to Dale Coyne, and he's driving the AMR, the American Medical Response 19. Allmendinger, your leader. Ronnie Bremer doing a great job for Dale Coyne, Chris.
He is indeed, and he has created a lot of smiles around down here. Dale, you've got Ronnie in a seat this week. Are you going to stay with this one for a couple more weeks?
Well, he's doing a good job. He said he was in the top 10 in every session but one, which was the important one Friday. I said, no, the important session's right now. He's 7th. He's faster than 2 guys in front of him. He's doing a really good job. All those guys we had, Michael and Tarso and Ryan, they all did a great job.
Chris, let me stop you here.
We got trouble on the course.
AJ Allmendinger gives up the lead, and one other car in trouble as well. Now that's turn 11 and 12.
That is Allmendinger. He's frustrated. That's him screaming in his radio.
That puts Bourdais in the lead. Allmendinger to pit road lead. On the restart, Allmendinger loses it in turn 11.
Let's have a good look at the suspension and change tires here, boys.
He said it's not. Is the car okay? It's not.
And it's weaving back and it's stuck in gear. That's what happened. It was not able to come out of gear. You can hear it just chug a lug down to a stop, and that would be why you couldn't turn it in the corner if you couldn't get it out of gear.
Allmendinger's already taken the wheel off the car. Pole sitter A.J. Allmendinger, the Western Union 10 car, appeared to be on his way to his first Champ Car victory. This will put the Newman Haas cars out 1 and 2. Sebastian Bourdais inherits the lead, Derek, with a car that hasn't been anywhere near as fast as the leaders until now.
And Paul Tracy is on the red Bridgestones, but I don't know whether he has enough car to challenge Servia and Bourdais. That's the team owned by Paul Newman, actor Paul Newman, and Carl Haas, the McDonald's car, Pacific Air car, now being chased by Tracy. Wow. What a turn-up of events. Justin Wilson throws the thing away. Then Allmendinger gets stuck in gear, it appears.
Have a look at what happened to Allmendinger as he came to the corner.
Okay, let's have a... Oh, he hit the curb first. Hits the curb. Car begins to bounce sideways. He made a huge mistake.
Would that be enough to damage the gearbox?
Allmendinger is absolutely distraught.
He's crushed.
He controlled the race. He has crashed in Cleveland with over-exuberance. He crashed in Toronto in sight of a podium. He had this race in control. He is absolutely distraught right now. There's a man who knows he threw all the work by the team away with a simple mistake.
His teammate Justin Wilson, who won last week, the first victory for the Rousport team in Champ Car. Wilson, before the restart, spun his ride out. Now Wilson in 5th. He's right behind Timo Glock, who has moved to 4th in the DHL car.
So Wilson's not finished yet. He has a much faster car than Glock from what we saw earlier. He's itching to get by to see can he pull himself up towards Paul Tracy.
6 laps to go in Edmonton.
Wow.
What I was going to ask you, Derek, when we saw Wilson spin before the restart, he's an acknowledged expert on cold tires. It just got away from him there.
Yeah. All you can say is, yikes. How long do we wait in Toronto for something to unfold? Exactly the same thing happened here. And suddenly, we mentioned earlier on, fatigue is what causes racing drivers to make mistakes. This place is so fast and so bumpy. All the driver said is physically one of the most difficult races of the year. As A.J. Allmendinger is consoled by the team members. What can you say except sorry for what I did, that tiny mistake? But tiny mistakes are so costly in motor racing.
There's Wilson in that red and white CDW9 trying to get by the DHL 8 of Glock. This is for 4th, 6 seconds behind the lead. Bourdais leads his teammate Oriol Servia by 0.8 of a second with 5 laps to go in Edmonton. Here's Wilson trying to get by Timo Glock on the inside. He had a contact. Glock goes around. Wilson trying an aggressive move, turns Glock around.
Oh, man, wait till Paul Gentilozzi sees that. Now, Wilson had tried it earlier on. Wilson stuck his nose into the first stop on Tracy, and he does it here. Did he damage his own car with that wheel-to-wheel contact?
So the CDW9 of Wilson moves to 4th for now. We'll see if Champ Car might levy a penalty here.
Here we go. Wilson is beside him. He's now beside him. He's over the curb, so he can't stop. Oh, that was a pretty brave move for Wilson to try and pull off, because it would have put him on the outside of the next corner.
P4, 4 laps to go. P4, 4 laps to go.
And
Bring it on.
Glock is going to be pulled behind the wall. His afternoon is over. He had a top 5 day going, Derek Daly.
And before that, have a look at this. This is Wilson right before that incident. Wilson behind him, He's coming inside, He tapped him on that turn as you just came into our picture. So that was 2 contacts with Wilson against Glock.
We stay green, coming up 3 to go. Next time by, you get a sense of the huge crowd that's turned out here in Edmonton at Finning International Speedway, laid out around City Center Airport. First time for Champ Car here. Now, Wilson was on the outside pole in the CDW car, last week's winner. He's led laps today. He's sitting 4th at the moment. We'll see if Champ Car might decide to levy a penalty based on that contact with Glock. Bourdais is your leader. Serbia is 6/10 back, and we're hearing from race control in Champ Car. There'll be no penalty levied on Justin Wilson. So Bourdais benefits from the Allmendinger incident that broke his gearbox, and the Wilson lighting up of the tires before the restart that cost him 2nd. Bourdais takes over the lead. His teammate Serbia 7/10 back in 2nd.
Boy, this is tough racing, and Wilson is showing us an aggressive side that allowed him to win the European Formula 3000 Championship. He was known as one of the most aggressive passers when he drove for the Minardi Formula 1 team, and that was certainly an aggressive move by Justin Wilson.
Well, we debuted this last week. We're able to talk to Champ Car's Vice President of Race Operations, Tony Cotman. Tony, the referee's shirt and whistle are yours. How did you see the incident between Glock and Justin Wilson?
The 8 car got in a little deep in the corner, and the 9 car came right in underneath him, and I think the 9 car was as far left as he could have gone the next corner, and so we've reviewed it, and there'll be no action taken.
Incidental contact. Thank you, Tony Cotman, for being with us. Justin Wilson on his way to at least the top 4, Derek, and that's pretty interesting considering what Wilson did before the restart. One more look here.
Oh, Glock made the mistake. That's what Tony Cotman talked about. Glock made a mistake, opened the door. Wilson went down the inside, hit the curb. But Glock made the first small mistake that opened the door of opportunity for Justin Wilson. And we now know that Justin Wilson has a Paul Tracy streak running right through him because he just doesn't back off. And he is now chasing Paul Tracy. There's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th all in the line.
White flag will be out this time by. Power to pass with Cosworth. Numbers up top. Bourdais with 23 seconds of time left on that extra 50 horsepower. So Bourdais is in terrific shape. He certainly knows how to get it done. Only 1 win, but he is the championship leader. Bourdais with an opportunity here to outscore Tracy again. But look at PT back there.
Oh, look at Wilson there. PT now being challenged by Wilson. Can Wilson get onto the rostrum? Can he get on the podium?
Bring it around one more time. Stay with it.
Oh, Wilson's going to have a go. I bet you he has a go here.
White flag has been waved over the leaders. Bourdais leads Serbia by 0.5 of a second.
Where can he do it? Where can he take the chance?
Justin Wilson dogging Tracy.
Oh, he is.
This is for 3rd. Tracy in the Avalanche Bay Indycar car runs in 3rd spot.
And remember, if Wilson sticks his nose in, Tracy better think of the championship. You can't have contact here, so you might let him go if he's brave enough to stick his nose in.
Sebastian Bourdais, final few corners in front of him. Oriol Serbia on pace for yet another podium in relief of Bruno Junqueira.
That's turn 10. This is where Tracy had the trouble in the brake zone earlier.
Leader out of 12. A couple of corners to go for Bourdais. Top 4, nose to tail. About half a mile from home in Edmonton.
Wow.
Here comes Sebastian Bourdais for the victory in Edmonton. Serbia finishes 2nd. Third spot to Tracy. 4th is Wilson. Dominguez comes on for 5th. And donuts being served today at McDonald's.
Okay, so let's have it. This is a competition now. Let's see how good they are. No good so far. on long enough.
Now, is that a croissant or is that a dough?
Well, it didn't look like it was going to me. Look at the crowd appreciative of what Bourdais just did. He's got the seatbelts on. He is.
The fans on their feet here in Edmonton, 80,000 strong, applauding the series champion Sebastian Bourdais, who has just scored his second win of 2005. Bourdais will add to his points lead. Paul Tracy comes home in third. Oriol Servia is in between the two.
Have you heard any of that, Seb?
In second.
Wow, he started in 10th place on the grid. He had sheer speed, particularly early in the race, and then circumstances begin to fall his way. This is what sometimes happens when you have a good run for the championship. And Newman Haas have never, ever won back-to-back championships, despite having Michael Andretti, Mario Andretti, Mansell, all the great stars they had, even Paul Tracy. They've never won a back-to-back. Look how thrilled Bourdais is.
Sometimes people think Sebastian Bourdais is not very emotional as a race car driver. He holds a lot inside, but you can see the joy in his face and his demeanor as he applauds the fans who've turned out in throngs here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.